podcast was written on Thursday, March 9th, 2017. Recorded August 31st, 2017. Written while riding the train to Randy's house. One of my favorite things in the world. This is probably one of my favorite things in the entire world. Not just this train ride from Penn Station to New London, Connecticut, but playing hooky, calling in for an entire weekend just to go hang out with one of your friends. It feels like you're getting away with something. You're unstoppable. I mean, it's the same feeling you get in 8th grade when your dad calls you out to go to the doctors, but you go see Saving Private Ryan instead. It's that same exhilarating feeling when you think that school is all that matters, when you think that work is all that matters, and you blow it off just to do something frivolous, something fun, to go play poker in Connecticut with your friend, to record a podcast with your friend in Connecticut, to see your friend just before he has his second baby. I don't know if there's anything better. And then the meditative sound of the train clicking on the track, watching the trees go by, watching the city pass into trees. This is one of my favorite things in the whole world. There's no better way to start a weekend than a long train ride out of a hectic city into a sleepy ocean town in northern Connecticut and ocean side Connecticut. I don't know. Connecticut's a weird place. Not only is it one of the greatest feelings to play hooky, it's also the first time I've openly declared that I'm leaving New York, that I've decided to leave New York. That alone is life-changing. It's the end of a chapter for me. I never thought I would leave New York. I thought this is where I would live forever. I don't know where I'm going. That's the biggest change, is that I feel like I'm spinning my wheels here, that something needs to change, and I need to leave, but I don't know where I'm going to go. I just got an email that said I could keep my same job and work in Hawaii. And if you have a job waiting for you in Hawaii, why wouldn't you go to Hawaii? Like, that sounds like one of the most exhilarating things to me in the world, too. It's probably headed into one of the best weekends of my life, where I'm probably going to move to Hawaii. I'm definitely leaving New York. I get to see one of my best friends in the world. We're going to record a podcast. I don't know. I can't think of anything better than that. So, here's to whatever leaving New York means, both figuratively and physically, currently leaving New York. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the podcast. Start with your name and how I know you.
Whew. All right. Yeah. I'm Randy Wilson, and I know Graham from back when he was like the skinny, most athletic Graham that's ever existed. Back when he was 18-year-old scrapping kid starting a senior year in high school. And I think you might have told this story. Well, not on this podcast before, but
Never on Rocky with Recorder.
yeah. So Graham's cousin was my best friend in high school, Shane. Still a great friend of mine, but I met Graham through Shane, and the way it worked was he was moving into Shane's dad's basement, and I just kind of showed up one day at Uncle Tim's house, and who was it, Sophia?
Yeah.
No,
yeah,
Olivia.
The littlest one.
Oh, Sophia.
Yeah.
His like 3-year-old cousin answers the door and then comes downstairs and says, "Graham, there's a man here to see you." And Graham's new to town. He's like, "No, nobody here knows me." But anyhow, yeah.
Yeah.
I came down, helped you build a room in your Uncle Tim's basement for you to.
Yeah, and that's when we became friends.
Yeah.
I tried to make small talk. It was awkward. You were just filling in for a friend.
Yeah, I was just trying to help out Shane.
Yeah.
I met this idiot.
Yeah. And so now we are in Connecticut.
Oh, yeah. Graham got up on a train, rode up here to Patheticate, come visit us.
Yeah, exactly. And in my quest for being a healthier version, trying to get back to that 225-pound Graham you knew. That's how long ago that was. I was 110 pounds lighter than what I am right now.
Do you find yourself measuring time in pounds?
Yeah, actually.
Yeah. This stage of my life, I weighed this much. This age.
Yeah, it took me a decade to gain 150 pounds.
So 15 pounds a year. Well, I mean, that's like...
Yeah.
It's almost unnoticeable until you're like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, exactly. I've bought a lot of outfits. And so you also have always wanted to do...
Oh, so I've always made the excuse that my upper body's weak because I'm tall, so just push-ups are hard because I got to move myself so much further. But I heard what you were doing, I was kind of inspired to get a little bit fitter myself, and no one's at the weight that they want to be. I'm pretty serious into sports, so I was like, I'm going to combine this weight loss thing that I'm doing with a push-up challenge that I'll give Graham. So
yeah,
I want to be able to do 100 push-ups in 5 minutes, and right now I could probably bang out 30 push-ups in 5 minutes.
Do you want to do 100 push-ups in 5 minutes? That's your total goal? Because mine is 100 consecutively.
Right, so I'm short-term goal is to be able to get to that. I'm not going to quit. Hopefully this push-up routine that we're working on sticks, and I'm doing these daily push-ups. If I can get to 100 in a row, I think that'll be by the end of this summer, long-term goal, be able to do 100 in a row.
Right. That's my goal is just by the end of the year.
Okay.
So fair enough. And the push-up program we're doing is 100pushups.com.
This is the 100 where it's the number.
The number 100 and then pushups.com. And it works by getting your max amount of push-ups that you can do, taking 60% of that, doing that 3 times a day until you feel like it is hard again. And then the next day you get your max number again, which should be higher than the last one.
Right, you try to do as many as you can in a row.
Right. And you keep doing that until basically you're doing, 40, right?
Yeah, once you can do 40 in a row, then you are to the intermediate challenge is what they call it on the website.
Because that's 60% of 100.
And that's 100 in 5 minutes. Once you can do 40 in a row on your max day, then you try to do 100 in 5 minutes. Seems reasonable.
Right, because if you did sets of 20,
yeah,
you just did 5 sets of 20 and you rested in between each one for 30 seconds, you could probably do it.
Yeah. And we read through the website, and he talks about this is the method that Soviet athletes used back in the day. And I think it's a Russian method. It's called greasing the groove. I read that, and I was like, yeah, this is definitely the one we're doing. I need to grease my groove so I can get better at push-ups.
And I often get texts from you that say greasing the groove.
Yeah, and that's just my reminder. Hey, Graham, I bet you're busy today. I just did my push-ups. Why don't you do yours? And
what do you find hardest about trying to do push-ups every day?
Well, it's just a daily reminder of how weak I am.
That's not it. Not where to do push-ups. Because you work an office job.
I work in an office job, and I when I'm getting ready to do push-ups, I just take a look around and see if there's anybody that I wouldn't want to be doing push-ups in front of, and then I duck down below the cue balls basically and just bang out.
Right in the cubicle.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought maybe you walked to an empty conference room or something.
There aren't any near me really. It'd be quite the walk to get to some place that would there's a gym on site. But I guess I could walk down there and just bang out some push-ups. Would be a good stretch for my legs. But to this point, no one said anything about
you doing push-ups at your desk.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's good for you.
Yeah.
They can't be
and
mad.
It doesn't. It takes
30 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing for me is well, I guess that's the one of two things. The other is I get so busy during the day, and we've got a 1-year-old son, and so I'll come home and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do my next set of push-ups after Trey eats dinner, and then it's the whole night is just a blur, and I'm about to ready to go to bed. I'm like, shit, I missed my third set for the day. I was supposed to do 4 today, so I'm only gonna get 3 because it's just I've lost track of time.
Right.
So just like making the habit to fit it in has been difficult for me.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's the hardest part that I have as well, is remembering to do push-ups throughout the day. It's for sure the hardest part. So, but you don't regularly have a workout practice right now.
No, before this fall, the indoor volleyball season started, I was going to the gym 3 days a week. I had a pretty good routine going in between beach season and indoor season, and then between volleyball and just family time, I don't make time to get to the gym.
Right, but volleyball is a good workout.
Yeah, it's like depending on what night, if it's pickup or league, it's somewhere between 1 and 3 hours of running around, jumping.
And it's always been something that fascinated me, is that at about 27, you decided to play volleyball.
Yeah.
What? Why? That's
well,
the question. I know that you knew people that were playing.
Well, so it was like I don't play basketball. I've never played basketball.
Right.
I might have played 2
That's
games
not
of
true.
organized
I've played
basketball in my life. That was probably one of 2. And I'm tall. I'm a little bit taller than Graham actually. So like, I figured it looks like a fun sport. I'm a really competitive person.
Yes.
So I like sports. I played tennis and stuff. So team sport was interesting to me. So I got out there and was playing, had fun, and then because I'm tall, people are like, hey, we want to teach you this, or you're good and we want to involve you. And so I've progressively had people who are better and better skill levels ask me to play with them. And that's how you get better at volleyball, I think, is playing with people who are better than you, that challenge you to up your game or whatever. So
that's how you get good at almost anything.
In like 4 or 5 years, I've really gotten into it. So I go and try to compete. So,
and you play year round.
Yeah. So between beach season and indoor season, it's all year round. There's a guy that's actually just the town over from here who's gonna be opening up a indoor beach volleyball place next winter. So I won't have to play indoor hardcore volleyball at all anymore. It'll be year-round doubles in the sand.
And tell the people what you dislike about indoor volleyball.
It's just jumping so much on hardwood floor destroys my knees.
Yeah, it hurts.
And the position that I play, for anybody who's listening to the podcast who knows volleyball, I play middle blocker. So like every time the ball goes up in the air, whether it's on offense or defense, I'm jumping as high as I can to either hit or block the ball. And it's just like repetitive,
right?
100 times in a night jumping.
It's a lot of jumping. Good for your butt though.
Yeah, get those glutes going.
Which is good. Do you stretch at all?
I didn't. It didn't stretch, and it came to bite me in the ass to the point where I actually had to go to physical therapy because my calves were so tight that not every time, but like several times in the night, I'd land, and the tightness of my calves would be pulling on my ankles so much that I'd land and it felt like I sprained my ankle.
And how did they help you?
They just showed me better ways to stretch. They did some dry needling, got things a little bit looser in there. And
what is dry needling?
It's acupuncture-ish.
Okay.
So they take a needle in, but instead of just like putting the needle in and leaving it there, they like bring it in and out. They don't go back out of the skin, but they like go around in the fascia, and they're trying to find a place that they feel the muscle twitch, and then they'll leave it there for a second and pull it back out and try to find another place where it twitches. And it's just to get that muscle group to relax a little bit differently.
Did you feel like it helped?
Definitely. She also did this weird tape for me that like between when it was loose enough that I was no longer having ankle pain and when I was having the sprain pain, she did this tape job that really just gave me enough support.
Not
No, it wasn't K-tape.
Kinesthetic tape?
Yeah.
Kinesthetic?
Yeah, it wasn't K-tape. It was some other tape. It was super sticky adhesive that you could wear it for like 3 days.
Oh, okay.
Shower with it on it. It's not going to come off. And it was really like not stretchy at all. And it was less than one full wrap, and it like immobilized my ankle from going the way that
almost like a brace.
Almost, yeah.
And did you feel like physical therapy overall was different than what you imagined?
I've been to physical therapy before.
For what?
For a shoulder problem that I had.
Huh. I didn't know any of this about you. I'm fascinated.
I'm a big believer in chiropractic.
Okay.
I've gone to the chiropractor for things that have been like serious problems with me before, and it's helped. And there's times where I'm like, I'd rather go to a physical therapist for this thing. when it's not readily obvious to me that, oh, I did this thing and that's why it hurts.
Right. It's not like something's out of alignment and
Yeah.
you just need an adjustment. It's like,
Yeah.
I hurt something. I need the proper mechanics or something to readjust this.
Right.
So that's what I found as well. I didn't realize how much physical therapy was going to help me until I went. And now I sit differently.
Yeah.
Walk differently.
Well, so the reason I had chronic back pain when I was like for the first 5 years that I was at my job, and I was like, hey, can someone come evaluate my workstation? I think that the desk and the chair are too low. And they're like, yeah, sure. No, nobody ever came and looked at anything. And then started going to the chiropractor. It was like how bad my back hurt. I couldn't do normal activities because my back was hurting so bad at one point. And the chiropractor's like, you really need to have, like, he wrote me a note, you need a doctor's note to have the occupational whatever person come and evaluate your workstation. And the guy like saw me, he's like, yeah, you're way too tall to be sitting at these desks. And so, they gave me a chair with a longer piston and raised my work surface up 6 inches, and now my back's fine. So like,
yeah, I'm going through the same thing right now at work. I had to call and I had the doctor's note from the physician or the physical therapist, and now they're ordering me a taller chair. So we'll see.
It's kind of pathetic that a doctor's note is needed in that situation.
Yeah, you would think that a workplace would be like, oh, you're being caused pain by the thing we're doing. We'll fix it, not prove it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree, but that's corporate business.
Yeah. I mean, we live in a life where we're like 99th percentile. Nothing's designed for us.
Right. And I didn't realize that until after physical therapy when he started going through everything and just regular seat, like the seats we're on right now, not tall enough.
No. And my dad always put it as, when, people are always jealous of tall people. Like, I wish I was tall. And he'd always say, just think of it this way. It'd be like you living in a world that was designed for 5th grade girls.
Yeah.
Everything's a little bit too small, uncomfortable. Like, you could sit in a 5th grader's desk as a normal person. It just wouldn't be comfortable.
Yeah.
But that's your whole life.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's not the greatest. So, your only goal for the year physically is this push-up thing.
Well, no, that's like a strength goal of mine. I guess probably at the end of beach season, I said I started going back to the gym. My weight has, like, when I graduated high school, I was 215. When I graduated college, I was like 235. I was at 255 at the end of last year, and I was like, this is more than I want to be, especially if I want to start getting more competitive at volleyball. So I wanted to get back down to 225. I think that's like a healthy weight for me, where I'm lean, still have enough muscle mass to actually be an athletic person. So I'm down from 255 to 235. So I've lost 20 pounds since like November-ish.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's just, I told you about this. I'm just using MyFitnessPal to track calories. And I've got a Fitbit, and I notice, because my MyFitnessPal and Fitbit are synced up, so like I use that calorie spread to tell me if I'm walking enough. Like if I'm really hungry and I don't have calories left, that doesn't really happen anymore now that I've been tracking more. So that's been like the way that I've been getting pounds off, is just eat less, move more.
Yeah, the simple basics of
it. Yeah, I mean, like there so many people try that and it doesn't work for them, and I feel like I'm fortunate enough that I just make like a minor life tweak. Like, don't eat seconds at dinner every day, or have like a lunch that's just a salad, and I'm fine.
That's been one of the most frustrating things for me, is just finding things that work. Like, you're like, the Fitbit and the MyFitnessPal work. Mm-hmm. You can follow it. It's easy for you. And when I eat, I stopped using MyFitnessPal because I eat the exact same thing every day. Yeah. And just got tired of putting it in. Yeah. And so, but like, I eat the exact same thing every day.
So you don't need to.
Right. So I was like, this works for me as long as I don't change. And people are always like, don't you get bored? And I'm like, no. This is what works. Yeah. So it takes forever to figure that out. My whole 20s. The booze also helped. I drank a lot.
Well, yeah. That's a lot. That's just calories, just empty calories. So, and I think the thing that kills a lot of people is like being too rigid and not allowing themselves to. I'm not gonna call them cheat days. I'm just gonna like there's days where I'm like it's gonna be too hard for me to track this. I know I'm gonna go over.
Right.
And over the course of the week, I'll probably still be negative. There was a couple weeks in there where I was like, what am I doing wrong? I can't like January. I was at 240 all of January. There was nothing I could do to move off the needle of 240. When I paid really close attention or when I let myself go, it didn't move. And I'm like, I guess I'm back to here because for like 2 years I was like, it doesn't matter what I do. I weigh 250 pounds.
Yeah.
And then another 5 pounds fell off, and
I had also plateaued at the end of February into right now-ish because I wasn't moving. I was going to physical therapy and I was like, no, I can't do anything. He says I can't. I was like, you can still walk. Keep walking. You're not meeting your steps every day. You have to walk. You have to do things. So, yeah, that was a tough one for me. It's way easier than you think it is once you decide to do it.
Yeah.
Which is just move and eat better.
It's that simple. And everything's a little bit more stressful. Like I just mentioned, we've got a 1-year-old, so everything's a little bit more stressful. Yeah. And I've done this to my wife several times throughout our relationship where I'm like, I'm going on this diet or this diet or that diet. And she's like, that's more difficult for her, or now we're cooking 2 separate dinners or whatever. And now that we've got the kid, I'm like, that's not an option anymore. Like, we can't.
No, you just have to moderate.
I need to be able to make dinner for the whole family.
Right.
And it needs to be friendly enough that my son can have some cut up on his tray and so.
You only eat chicken nuggets now.
Yep. Chicken nuggets. Vegan chicken
nuggets. Vegan chicken nuggets.
It's spelled chicken.
Shane will be happy to hear it.
No, I don't eat vegan. My dad had a heart attack a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And that kind of was an eye opener for me. Where it's like,
okay, because heart disease runs in the family.
Yeah.
That's what sides. People don't think. Oh, both of your sides. Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah. So, I'm like off of red meat. I'll have it we had
corned beef.
We had red meat twice.
Twice. Yeah.
But that's very rarely I'll eat beef anymore or pork. Mostly just chicken, and that's just I'm trying to be heart healthy. I guess. But yeah, that was an eye opener. It was like my dad was 58, I was 29. He had a heart attack. I'm like, if he would have died,
yeah,
that's like midlife. Right now is midlife for me.
Right.
I was just like, wow, I gotta.
Yeah, well, that's what happened to me at 30. Was I went, oh, you may have 2 more times of this. You may have to last 60 more years, and you are in terrible shape.
Yeah.
So you have to move. Maybe it happens to everyone. I don't know. Because I grew up with a dad who just always was fit. Yeah. He just always worked out all the time. It was very important to him to always be active. And maybe I just took that for granted.
Yeah.
I didn't have a good grasp that he worked hard at that. It didn't just come naturally.
Right.
That he was able to keep up and do things and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So did your dad?
Well, your
dad was always fairly thin.
Yeah, he played college sports. He was basketball D2 level.
Right.
And he's just an athletic guy. He never worked out, but he was always active doing workout in the yard or he's a healthy looking guy. And I think every single person who found out that my dad had a heart attack was like, what? Tom couldn't have had a heart attack. He's a healthy dude. And it's just the way he and my mom ate was not. Yeah. He wasn't thinking about it.
He was skinny fat.
Yeah.
Is what they call it. When you just grow fat around your organs.
Yeah, it could be that. I don't.
Not around your belly as much.
Right.
Well, that's exactly what you're describing. Is the higher fat foods, the not working out a ton but still staying thin.
Yeah.
Sort of thing is what they find is
So that was the eye opener for him that he needed to check his diet. So they're doing the Mediterranean diet.
Oh, so just fish, basically.
Fish, chicken. He the first month of it, every time I'd talk to my dad on the phone, he'd remind me. He's like, the doctor said I can only have red meat twice a month. I'm like, I know, Dad. He just always brought that up when we were talking about it.
Right, but that's a big step for him. A Midwestern dude is meat and potatoes. That's every night.
Yeah. So I feel like whenever I hang out with him, we end up eating red meat. He's like, I promised you that like I don't eat this much. I don't ever eat red meat. I'm like, well, every time we hang out, you do. I'm just a bad influence on it.
It could be. So did he have stents?
He had stents put in. He's on blood thinners for the rest of his life.
Yeah, if you get stents, you get blood thinners forever. You buy them together.
I was pretty impressed with his story. So the doctor was like, after it happened, he's like, you had a pretty serious heart attack. There's significant damage that's been done. And they scheduled the appointment for him to come back in, and they did a echocardiogram.
Yep.
To like see a few months later how his heart had recovered. And my dad told the doctor, he's like, you just wait and see. Like I'm gonna keep my positive attitude. I'm gonna get better. And the doctor was like trying to be cautious with my dad, like, this isn't something you can just will yourself through.
Right.
But he stayed super positive, took the supplements that he thought were gonna help him, made the immediate dietary change, got more active in his life. And he went back in, and the cardiologist who put the stents in said, if I didn't personally put those stents in you, I would have no way to believe that you're the same person.
Oh,
like
wow.
His heart, like the tissue that they thought was dead.
Dead, right.
He's like, I don't think he's 100%, but
no.
he's way back.
You always lose some tissue,
yeah.
But if he was able to revive a little bit of tissue,
yeah,
especially if he caught the heart attack fairly early,
yeah,
because he didn't collapse completely.
Right.
Then he got stents, got him reoxygenated to the tissue, and then stayed with it.
Yeah.
It's impressive.
It was it's scary. Like, he was home alone, and hearing him tell the story of when he had a heart attack was like, he was out with a chainsaw, had some chest pain starting, thought, oh, this is like, heartburn or something like that. Then it got so bad, and he's like, I barely made it back into the phone to call 911. It hurt so bad.
Right.
So
just crushing pain.
Yeah, he tried to call my mom. She was somewhere where she couldn't answer. And so he called 911. I'm like, why did you call mom? What was she going to do? But she's the caregiver, so.
Yeah, and when you're in a lot of pain like that, you're not thinking correctly.
Yeah.
That is scary.
So, anyone's got others. Port Huron Hospital saved his life.
Congratulations, Port Huron Hospital. Way to go. That's it. So you are one of the few people left in my life that knew me at 220.
Yeah.
My thinnest was actually not in high school. It was when you came to see me do comedy for the first time. That was my lightest ever.
Out in G-Rap.
Out in old G-Rap. It was the lightest I've ever been.
Wow.
Yeah.
220.
220 was when I was only eating hot dogs and running 9 miles a day.
Yeah, hot dogs and running. That's a good way probably to get a heart attack if you just live on that. Like, don't worry about me. I'm a healthy looking dude. I run 9 miles a day.
Yeah, it was great. Well, but I worked at a hot dog place, so the hot dogs were free.
Oh well. Then you do that. So. What was I gonna say? When you were 220, from the time you went to 220, you were 20 years old, right?
Yeah, when I was 220, I was 20. Correct.
And then, not that you didn't drink before you were 21.
Barely.
Right.
I drank in Canada with you a couple of times. Yeah. And, but you guys didn't drink. You just let me drink alone. That's the only time I've ever thrown up from drinking.
Oh.
Was that one trip to Canada where I kept buying pitchers and nobody was drinking with me. But nobody told me no one was drinking with me. So, thank you.
Oh, well. And so, I mean, the alcohol was one vector.
Oh, yeah. Alcohol was a huge factor. Especially because with drinking, my eating was horrible.
Well, I mean, you ate so bad, and I'm not trying to rub your face in it, but you had to get your gallbladder removed.
Oh yeah. It was bad. Because I would just eat hot dogs basically. I loved hot dogs.
Yeah.
And garbage food, yeah. And I probably, looking back on it, I probably could have, if I just changed my diet, been okay with not getting my gallbladder out.
Yeah.
But because I was in so much pain for that whole week before the gallbladder getting out, that I just did it. And now I have a hernia because of it.
Really?
Yeah, I'm going to have to get that repaired at some point. I have an umbilical hernia. Dr. Arts, if you're listening, I have a hernia. I feel like you should fix that for free. It is your work. Is that no?
Oh, because of the surgery?
Yeah.
Oh, that sucks.
I never had a hernia before, and then that's one of the incision points. It's the weakest incision point, and so...
What do you do? Does it hurt?
No, it doesn't hurt, and it hasn't caused any problems. So until then, I won't do anything. Or if I lose enough weight that it looks really bad, because eventually I'll get, hopefully, thin enough that it just looks like a weird thing sticking out of my stomach that I'll want fixed.
So what is it that's sticking through?
Intestines.
So couldn't that be bad?
Yeah. It could go bad fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a gamble I'm taking.
So you should just get it fixed.
The insurance that I have right now is not good enough that it would be like free to go in and get.
Well,
no. It would be thousands of dollars. Like probably if I had to guess what my insurance would charge me for that short, it would probably be close to $15,000, and I'm just not willing to.
Well, do you have a maximum out of pocket deductible or anything like that?
Yeah, our insurance is only that's our deductible.
Yeah, so my insurance is everybody's insurance is
right.
Difficult right now, I think. But yeah. I think for $6,000 of the deductible, and once I hit the $6,000, insurance pays for 90%, and I pay for the other 10% up to a $15,000 out of pocket max or something.
Right, that's what I'm telling you. Is
So
I think I would hit the
yeah. Whoa.
It's an easy procedure, but there's a lot of medications and surgeons. I could die. I think it would be cheaper if it's an emergent surgery.
Oh. Or if it's funeral costs, then you don't have to front any of that.
No.
Yeah. So
I don't have life insurance though.
Oh.
So someone will have to pay to cremate me.
Sorry, Willow.
Thanks. Willow would be the one probably. Yeah, so I have a hernia, things like that. See, we did the push-up challenge. What else we talked about? We talked about volleyball.
A little bit of weight loss and volleyball.
Get a little bit of your history in. It's pretty good.
Well, what about you? Do you have any other, so you're doing the liver clean 17.
Liver clean 17, no drinking.
Pushing up with Randy.
Pushing up with Randy? Is that what we're calling it?
I don't know what we're calling it.
Pushing up with Randy. Well, let's cover. What was your first max?
Oh, I've got it, pathetic. So I've been trying to track on my phone. Today will be the third time that I've done the reset, where the day before was as many as I felt like I could do in a row for 4 sets worth. So today I'm going to be remaxing, so we could actually, I could drop and figure out how many I can get today. But I'm got a Google Keep where I'm trying to. So the first time was February 28th. My maximum push-ups, don't everybody laugh at this, 14. I could only do 14.
That's nothing wrong with that.
So then a week later, 3-5, I did 16. So I had 2 on.
Right. And that's doing how many each? You started, so then you do 60% of 14.
Right, so I went, that's 8, 9, 10, or something. 8, 9,
right,
10, 11.
So those are the days. 8, 9, 10, 3 times each day.
Yeah, and then when I got to 11, I was like, that's as many as I feel comfortable doing. And then I did the reset, and then after I did the reset, I dropped back down to 9, 10, 11, 12. So I did 12 yesterday, and at the end of the day, the 12th one was kind of difficult, so I was going to reset the day, and hopefully, my hope is that I get 19. If I get 19 push-ups, I'd be happy. That's 3 more than I did last time. Anything over that is just gravy for me. So.
And 19 was the base that I started at when I first started doing maximum amount of push-ups.
And let me just say that in since we did this baseline the first time, February 28th, March, I've done more push-ups in the month of March than I have in the last decade combined.
And how do you feel? Does your chest feel better?
I don't feel a difference.
You don't see a difference? You don't feel a difference?
No, that's the thing that's bothering.
It will though. You will.
Yeah, I think so. There's no way that I would if I'm getting stronger. let's say I'm 10% stronger than I was.
Right.
And I get to the point where I was only able to do 14 in a row, and then I can get up to where I can do 40 in a row. Obviously going to have more muscle. And I think that push-up develops not just showing muscles. That's like your whole core, your shoulders.
Yeah. It's mostly not showing muscles, actually.
Right.
It's mostly just stabilization muscles.
Right. So I feel like it's going to be an athletic advantage for me to have like more strength in my shoulder, which is something, like I mentioned before, I've had some weakness areas in there, like underdeveloped traps and stuff.
Right.
So it's just going to give me more functional strength.
And your serve is going to be great.
Woo!
Aces every time.
I'm blocking those bitches.
Is that how that goes?
Yeah.
Blocking those bitches.
Yeah.
All right. Do you want to do your max right now?
I'll try for it. It's going to be...
it's recording stuff. Hold on, I'm going to do them with you.
Oh!
We'll count them out together.
So Graham...
Military style.
Graham does push-ups faster than I've ever seen any human do push-ups. I like the first time he came here for this trip, and I was like, "Oh, Graham, you're gonna go do some push-ups with me now?" And he was supposed to do like 18, and I was supposed to do 10, and he was done like 4 minutes before I was done.
All right, but I'll go at your pace this time.
All right.
I'll watch you.
So I'm trying to get to 19. Graham starts on the bottom. I start up here. All right, you ready?
Yep.
Go.
1,
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14,
15,
16, 17,
Nice. 17.
18.
Nope. 18.
Didn't get my goal, but I'm happy. 2 more.
And Barley joined us.
Oh yeah. Hey, brother. 18. That's not awful.
2 more.
2 more. At that pace, another 6 weeks, I'll be at 14.
All right. Anything else you want to tell everybody at the Rocky River Recorder?
No, that's it. Thanks for having me on here, Graham.
No problem.
New York City is a living organism. It evolves, it devolves, it fluctuates as a living organism. So my relationship with New York City is as vitriolic as the relationship with myself and with any other human being, which means that it changes every millisecond, that it's in constant fluctuation. This winter, I really felt like we were getting a divorce. And I was certainly the loser of that divorce. There was anger, I was overwhelmed, I was re-emerged into my own naivete. I couldn't believe how angry the city was with me. And it seemed like a vindictive woman to be like no reason whatsoever, just by the pure rage of its own existence, because the concrete had settled, because the terracotta had been meticulously carved, because some of the buildings are higher than others. The anger, the inferiority that some of the shorter buildings feel, I felt, and I suddenly was not welcome on this island anymore. And I suddenly was not welcome on this island. And I suddenly was not welcome on this island.